Welcome to the Menowave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations with Marti Daly and Robin Duke. Join us and our team of health professionals, holistic practitioners, and coaches as we talk openly about the ups, downs, and everything in between when it comes to navigating the Menowave of menopause.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Menowave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations. I'm Robin Duke, and this is Marti Daly. And today we have Jennifer Gilliland. I hope I said that correctly. With us today, and she is a dietitian, therapist, and we're going to hear a lot about her. We're so excited that you're here with us. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Jennifer, as Robin said, is a registered dietitian and a licensed therapist who is absolutely passionate about helping women feel fantastic during menopause. Her expertise extends way beyond traditional nutrition counseling. She dives into hormonal changes, emotional well-being, physical health, and forms a holistic approach that touches every aspect of her clients' lives. Everyone's menopause journey is such a unique story of ups and downs and twists and turns, and Jennifer will help you develop your personalized plan that is doable and, most of all, fun. Again, we're super excited to have you. Before we begin, I want to start with just kind of sharing some fun, lighthearted Meno moments, as we call it. And I will start with my Meno moment. Something that just came up is just completely forgetting. We're so busy. And I think in talking with both of you, it's kind of a similar theme. I'm just so busy right now with a bunch going on in the world and in our day-to-days. And I completely will forget. It's like that meme of like you walk into the room or someone says you walk in and you can remember the lyrics to a song from the 80s. Can't remember why you walked into a room. Not 2 minutes before Jennifer jumped onto the call today, I was checking my email, looking to see, make sure she had the link to join us, making sure she wasn't reaching me in it for anything. And as I'm looking through my emails, all of a sudden, whoop, I completely forgot what I was looking for. I mean, the Zoom call was on, but Robin's waiting, we're all waiting. I was just checking the email and I just started spinning. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm looking for. So thankfully that moment, Jennifer jumped into the call and I was pulled out of my reverie of, what am I doing here? But I just chalk it up. I don't even worry about it. It's like, it's a mental moment and I'm getting several. How about you, Jennifer? Have you had any lately?
Very similar. It's kind of like you mentioned before, like that little spinny thing that goes on the computer, right? When you just can't kind of load what you're trying to do. And even being able to walk upstairs or in another room and kind of take a moment or a pause for why was I there? That's not working quite as quickly as it was before. I think there's just so much coming at us right now with the holidays and wrapping up the end of the year. And I'm in Ohio, so like the weather's changing and it's dark and all that kind of stuff. So it's a very different time of the year, right? Our motivation is a little bit different and our memory just we need a little help in that area. So I'm looking forward to 2024 when maybe things can, we can take a breath and kind of have a moment to really reassess and kind of go from there.
Well said. Well said. Yes, I can definitely relate to so many things on my plate. And sometimes it all comes together, and sometimes like all the marbles just fall off the plate. And yesterday and today have been one of those super, super busy, high intensity. I got to get my shit done, Christmas presents to the post office, long lines in grocery stores, and then packing for a trip and for 5 days. So many things that I don't want to forget. Christmas party thrown in there, Christmas gifts, don't forget those. And, so yeah, my brain has just been spinning, and finally it just like, whew, I come to a place where I just have to just sit and just let all of that just kind of melt off of me and take some breaths, drink a cup of hot tea and just go, okay, fortunately that all went well. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I have those moments like Marti said, where you walk and you look at something and you just totally blank out, the little circle starts spinning. So I can totally understand.
I think too, it can be very emotionally charged, right? There's just so much going on and so much that we want to do. And there's so many emotions at this time of the year. And I know for myself, I'm a little bit more emotional than I maybe was before I got into this kind of menopause midlife stage. And So I cry very easily sometimes, not necessarily because I'm sad, but just because like things, can be kind of crazy. So I can be having a moment and kind of not sure what's going on. And then I can feel myself getting really, tense and tears come to my eyes. And I'm like, okay, just take a step back, like take a breath, and this is all going to be okay. Everything is going to get done as it needs to. So yeah, definitely feeling that stress this time of the year for sure.
So
A lot
Jennifer,
of
tell
stress.
us a little bit about how did you come into wanting to help women going through menopause, deal with their health, their emotional and their physical health?
hmm So I've been a dietitian for 30 years, which that totally dates me, and that's okay. I'm 53 years old, and so I feel like I was at a stage in my kind of working and helping other people in their nutrition and lifestyle journey, just feeling like I was hearing too many women say there's nothing you can do in menopause. It's just kind of like we're just going to wait. I don't know what we're waiting for, and just kind of sit on the couch and like let life go by. And I just feel like there's too much vitality and too much fun left to have. And we get to choose, right? And I think that the more we talk about nutrition and nutrition being the foundation of what we're doing, because we have to have the proper nutrition to be able to do the exercise, do the physical movement during the day, and to really, even from like a cognition or a brain health standpoint, we use 20 to 25% of our calories with our brain and our brain function. And so we really want to kind of bring all of that together. And I was just hearing too many women that were feeling hopeless and like there wasn't any way that they could actually feel better. And unfortunately, our healthcare system isn't necessarily set up to be able to help women in midlife the way that I think we all would like to be helped. And really, like we're talking about kind of slowing things down and having that conversation. And what I love doing is hearing women's stories to know what is your next step. What do you want? What do you envision your nutrition and your lifestyle and just your overall health to be? Because I know for me, I have a vision of, being 90 or 95 years old, playing with my kids and grandkids and really being engaged in life, right? Going hiking, doing physical things and just being in that space. And so as a dietitian, it really spoke to me that I want to be able to serve other women in that way and give them a different direction and help them see that there's another way to do this besides just, existing.
I'm so glad to hear that because there is such a big connection between our emotions and our eating behaviors. And I don't like to call them diets, but the food that we consume every day and how we consume it and when we consume it. And I know for myself, I'm not really big on breakfast in the morning. I like to have my coffee or tea, but I also know that I have to feed myself because if I don't, my body's going to start talking to me and my tummy's going to start growling. My blood sugar might go up. And I know I'll be in the middle of my day and then my emotions will kick in too, right. And then I'll either be anxious or sad or just distracted. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of connection. And I think it's true what you said when that there are a lot of women that feel like going into this time of their life that they don't have a lot of control. They're not empowered. They don't know how to put all these pieces together and balance it out so that they can have a wonderful life in menopause, through menopause, and after menopause. It doesn't have to be all consuming and ruin your life. There's so much you can do.
I think what happens is I'm thinking of these women that we work with and that we help, and it can be so daunting and very scary, and just we're coming into all of a sudden it's like we wake up one day and wham, the symptoms hit us, perimenopause symptoms starting us out. I mean, just the changing of our hormones and the way our organs are changing and our systems inside are changing. Our subconscious mind sense that, and it feels different. It feels weird. And for a lot of women, it feels different, but we can't put our finger on it. We don't quite know, or even if we do know, it's out of our control. Then the other fears come up, and then their thoughts of aging and their thoughts of mortality. And then every other thought is, oh my gosh, this weird pain. Am I dying? Oh my gosh, am I going to die? Am I going to die? Am I going to die? And as you mentioned, Jennifer, I wanted to talk about is our emotional health and our physical health are very much connected. And it's almost like what comes first? Is it our physical health that impacts our emotions, or is it our emotions that impact our physical, what's going on in our body? Or is it an equal split? Do you mind speaking a little bit about what your thoughts are on that relationship or how you look at it?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to unpack there, right? Every woman's story is complex and everybody's history, what they've experienced. I don't like diets either. I don't think that they work. I don't think that that's really the most effective way for us to really approach nutrition because it's very restrictive and it feels very much like we're following a bunch of rules that don't apply to all of us, you know? And so one of the first questions that I like to ask women when we start to work together is, what do you feel needs to change at this point for you? What's your vision for your health and your wellness? Where do you want to go? Because one of the things that I think that does is it sort of breaks down that barrier of always feeling like we're being told what to do. I'm 53 years old. I don't want people to tell me what to do. I'm great when people want to have a conversation with me and engage and share and like actually take the time to understand me and where I am. And so I want to give women that opportunity to say, I work with smart women. We all do, right? We work with smart women who know their bodies better than anybody else. They know what their goals and their dreams are. So it's not for me to say, this is for you, like you have to do it this way. And I really want people to feel like they have a voice in this. This is their life. So if we can start talking, having the conversation, a lot of times through that conversation, it becomes very clear about whether there's physical things that need to change. Do we need to look at how many times they're going out to eat, or is it a sugar craving issue that we're dealing with? Because that's real, right? That might be something that we have to break down and actually make some recommendations for. But then also, is it because we're not sleeping? Is it because we're really stressed out about our health? Like you were saying, Marti, our bodies are doing weird things. And it's not really comfortable to just be able to say, hey, my body's doing this weird thing and I don't know what it is, because it may be embarrassing. It may be we're just feeling like it's only us, like we're doing something wrong. Because how many times have we been told, like, eat less calories, move your body more? If you don't do that, it's basically your own fault that you're not able to lose weight or feel better. I think the conversation, we need to do a complete shift with that. So there's not any one kind of 50-50 split necessarily for physical versus emotional. I think it's very much, what is the conversation that we need to have? And once we start down that road, then a lot of times these women are able to really kind of hear themselves saying some things. They're like, oh, that's what we need to focus on. I didn't even know I was doing that. I didn't know I was, beating myself up over the fact that I really like cookies and I don't want to give cookies up. So then what do I do with that? So we brainstorm some ideas of, because let's be honest, having an apple is not the same as a chocolate chip cookie. So when people say, oh, just eat fruit, I'm like, okay, yeah, right. That's not going to work. So
do you have women that are kind of surprised, and I would hope, pleasantly surprised to realize that they do have that power to, okay, what is it that I feel? Because I feel like as I'm listening to you, as I'm walking through my experience, like I could come up with, well, here's what I think, what I'm missing, or where I think that gap might be. And then to have you say, well, either validate or ask deeper questions to help me come out with some answers and some ideas, that feels very empowering to me. Do you ever have women, though, or are they surprised, like, I should know this stuff already? Or if I could do it here in this context of answering you, why can't I just do this myself at home?
So that's a really great question. And I feel like I know for myself personally, I need to be surrounded by like-minded women in order to feel like every day I can stay consistent, right? So if I'm feeling anxious, if I'm not feeling like I'm emotionally stable in that particular decision or that particular day, maybe I didn't get enough sleep the night before, maybe something's going on in my family or something like that. We need other people around us that can help kind of keep us accountable. I was reading a book the other day and it was talking about a really great example to me of kind of being in the middle of the ocean and not knowing where land is, right? And you're on this boat and you have no idea if land is like a day away, an hour away, like where are you at, right? And you just start to sort of have this panic of like, what am I doing and how do I get there? And so if you're by yourself in this boat, which kind of menopause can feel that way, right? That we're just on this boat floating to who knows where. If we have other people around us that we can sort of talk through, I'm big on conversation. If I'm feeling anxiety or I'm feeling stress about something, I want to be able to pick up the phone and call somebody and say, okay, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm experiencing. And so many times that can be another person on the boat that says, okay, just let's really think about this logically. Let's think through this. Let's actually come up with a plan, and then let's see how that plan works, right? Instead of going into, we've all done, I know I've done it, like this, like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling, and there's that whole, the sky is falling and people are running around.
Chicken Little.
Yeah, Chicken Little. Yes, thank you. So we have to have that accountability and that support. And I think too, just being able to have somebody say to you, like, you are very smart, you are very capable, instead of, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're not doing that again, or I can't believe you're not, able to count those calories, or whatever the case might be. I have a lot of women who are pleasantly surprised that we have that conversation. And they actually come to me and they're like, this is completely different than what I thought we were going to do. And so we're able to kind of break down that resistance and that barrier to the fear of, I'm going to be one more person that's just going to say, you have to do this, this, and this, or you're never going to succeed.
That is so true. I can echo that same thing with my coaching clients. Is I'm not your best friend. I'm not your mom. I'm not your parent. I'm not your spouse. I'm somebody that is here to listen to you and to help you to hear what you're saying and help you to feel comfortable, help you to see what the barriers are. And so many times my clients will come to me and they'll say, I just want to be happy. I want to lose weight. I want to feel good. I want to have better relationships. It could be family, it could be work, it could be transitions that they're going through. And just having somebody hearing them. And I think that that's a really great thing that coaches bring to the conversation, is that they really hear what their client is saying, and they listen and they pull out from the client what it is that they really want, and then help them to build steps to attain those goals and give them that support and that accountability. And I know for myself, I'm more apt to show up and take care of my goals if I know that I have to be accountable to somebody. So I'm just as accountable to other people as they are to me.
I always say I like to lovingly challenge people. I want to be your biggest cheerleader, but I also want to empower you to be able to do this on your own and find your own people that can go out and live your life and do kind of the things that you want to be able to do. But I can't, if I'm too close to the situation, if you're relying on your best friend or your mom or somebody like that to do that for you, sometimes there's a little bit too much of an emotional pull there. So as coaches, we can be the person who's like, I want this for you. I want this very badly for you. But this is really what's going on. It's more of that kind of objective picture. So we can hold that kind of accountability and challenge that a little bit. I feel like as a coach, if I'm not challenging people, then I'm not going to be as effective, because you need I know I do. I need somebody to really look at the situation and say, okay, this is really what I see. And then what do you think about that? So we can, again, have that conversation. So absolutely, I think that's right, Robin. We can't always do it for them, right? We have to actually help them to see how they can do it for themselves. But sometimes it's pointing out those things that we can't see because we're in the middle of the ocean. We need to,
Right.
we need to have some clarity there.
I kind of want to touch a little bit more on the connection between our emotional health and our physical health. Jennifer, I think you mentioned that you had a client who was having digestive issues that were tied with shame. Do you mind speaking a little bit more to what that might look like, and what you've seen with some of your other clients as far as how their emotions and physical well-being are tied?
Sure. So, a lot of times we all know where our brain is, right? So we don't always think about our digestion or our stomach being our kind of second brain. So when we're eating food, when we're digesting and breaking down nutrients, we have to have that connection between our brain, what we're thinking about food, how we're feeling about kind of life in general sometimes, and then how our stomach is reacting to that. So the client that I was working with, she was really under a lot of stress, for a lot of family stress that was going on, some relationships with her kids. Kids were moving out of the house. There was just some different things that were coming up for her. And so she was finding that she was getting more bloating, more stomach upset, just not feeling like she had really the health that she wanted. And so we started to have the conversation about her emotional health and how that was impacting her digestion and the way she was actually absorbing food. When it's been proven that when you are under a lot of stress, anxiety, depression, those kinds of things, your digestion actually slows down. So imagine if you are eating food and you're getting this sort of physical reaction to it. And you're like, what in the world is going on with that? Not really relating it to what's going on with you from a stress perspective, because if we're honest, we as women go through a lot, right? We kind of feel like we need to push through in a lot of areas, right? So even if we're feeling the stress and the pressure, maybe anxiety or depression, we still feel like we sort of have to push through. And that's what she was doing. She was showing up for her kids. She was showing up for her husband. She was going to work. They own a restaurant. So she was continuing to just sort of move along, not really paying attention to how that was physically affecting her, how her emotional state was changing that up. So when I have conversations with women, we really dig into that emotional side of things so that we can positively affect how they're actually absorbing food, absorbing nutrients. And so many times we don't take a look at that. As soon as we started shifting her mind to looking at that emotional piece and using some techniques to de-stress, then the weight started coming off. She wasn't counting calories. She wasn't counting macros. She wasn't weighing out food. She was just being more mindful of where that stress was getting in her way or kind of providing some obstacles for her. And the weight started coming off. And she was like, what in the world is going on? And we kind of brainstormed through and talked about that connection. And she's like, oh my gosh, this is so much different than what I've been able to do before. And she actually surpassed her expectations of the weight loss. She had a lot of times, kind of been stuck. She'd lost 10 or 15 pounds and then sort of got stuck there. But we were able to really push through. She's lost over 40 pounds at this point and just feels amazing. Like energy is better. And she has a much better relationship with her body. She can appreciate the impact of both her emotional and her physical choices that she makes. And she's feeling very confident in her ability to affect that. And when I say that, what I don't want women to hear is that it's somehow their fault, that they need to feel guilt or shame about the way that they've made food choices or the way that they've kind of dealt with their bodies up to this point. It's really about awareness. If we don't know that connection, then how do we know to fix it or how do we know to change it? So it was bringing to light some of those areas of that emotional being and helping her to take a step back and really more realistically look at what was going on and how those different things were impacting. So that leads us into things like emotional eating. How many of us are emotional eaters or stress eaters or just feeling like we're eating for comfort and those kinds of things. So it unravels all of that for women when we start to break all that down.
Yeah, and that's really fascinating because how fortunate or smart, I should say, she was to have found you to walk her through that process. Because I could totally see if I was in her position when I was not really, yeah, I'm stressed, but that's just life, right? But I want to lose some weight and, I'm having these digestive issues. I might just go out to like Google some sort of diet for digestive issues or how to lose 15 pounds in menopause and not gotten what I needed. What is your process when a woman comes to you as far as, hey, I want to lose 15 pounds and I'm having digestion issues?
First and foremost, we're going to sit down and break through a nutrition assessment to really understand where they're at, what their story is, what they're coming to the table with, and how they're feeling. Food sensitivity testing and food allergies, those kinds of things. A lot of people will just automatically eliminate things like dairy or gluten or sugar. And I'm not saying that that isn't something that people are sensitive to, but when we don't take the time to kind of take a step back and really see what's the big picture of everything that's going on, right? And then we can start to break down, okay, what's the best logical next step for people? Because we always like to feel good as quickly as we can. And maybe that is something where every time I eat dairy, this happens. I get bloated or I don't feel good or I have diarrhea or something like that. Okay, well, then we can start to kind of break that down. But if the other side of that is, my work is a toxic place for me to be. I don't like it. And I feel kind of trapped there because I'm in my 50s or 60s and I only have a few more years that I'm going to be working before I retire. And then there's all that stress and strain of, I don't really want to be here, but I have 3 more years before I can quit. That's probably affecting you more than the yogurt or the dairy, right? I just like to sit back and hear their story. I really like to dig into what that is. And then again, see kind of where they want to go. What's the next best step for people? And if people are really focused on, I really just want to learn about calories and protein, we can do that. But I think one of the questions I ask a lot is, has that worked for you before? And let's really try and brainstorm through this so that we can get you the results that you're looking for instead of just looking at the amount of calories or protein.
That's really interesting because it really is stepping back and looking at the whole picture, because it's not just a one size fits all. I mean, our women of a certain age right now, and we're very smart and intelligent, and sometimes we need someone to help brainstorm with us so that we can connect all those pieces together. And it's amazing when you have a conversation like that, all of a sudden the light bulbs start going on. It's like, oh yeah, I have been stressed out because of work or different things like that. And once you can start seeing what those connections are, then you can also start identifying other areas. And women are very intuitive about what it is that they are willing to do and what they're not willing to do. So you can sit and develop a plan with a client, but they know inside of them whether it's going to work. And I think you kind of referred back to a piece of fruit versus a cookie. And so helping them to make a plan that they're, number one, going to be excited about, they're going to engage in, and not just walk out the door and go, right, I'm going to go have that cookie instead of a piece of fruit, is really very important. That's when you start really moving forward and in these situations to help women to see that you can do this and you can develop your own plan.
And how many times have we been in a situation for ourselves personally where people are talking at us, whether it's a healthcare provider or a friend or just somebody, and they're just talking at us as though what they're saying is the only way to do something, right? And we're just like, okay, we just kind of smile and nod, and then we go and do whatever we want to do anyways. Like,
yeah, because in the back of my head, I'm going, yeah, right, that's not going to work, but I'll smile.
Exactly. And so I want women to feel like they can say, you know what? I just don't think that's going to work for me either. If they can be honest with what's going on, then we can actually break down what the true story is. But I think we historically have been told, like, just be quiet. You don't want to make a big deal about that. And also the message that every woman has to look a certain way. We have to have a certain weight on the scale and all of those kinds of things. So when we really start to talk about what's behind the process that women want to go through, whether it's weight loss or digestive issues or energy or whatever it is that their goal is, there's a lot of that stuff that comes up. And we can reevaluate. You know, I know at 53, I'm a different person than I was when I was 40. I'm much more confident. I will kindly tell you when I don't want to do something, but I'm going to tell you that I don't want to do it. Right. When I was in my 40s, I remember asking somebody in their 60s once, I said, how are you like this? How do you have this confidence? She's like, I'm just over it at this point. She's like, I've lived too long, been through too much, and I'm just doing my own thing right now. So I kind of feel that way. I feel like we have the ability to live a really great, amazing life when we get out of our own way sometimes, and we have that authentic conversation, and we can sort of break it down and actually move in the direction that feels good to us. I talk about soul yeses and soul nos. And if you're talking to somebody and they're trying to help you and you're getting this soul no of like, I don't want to do that, then, you know, and they're not raising their hand saying, I don't want to do that, then we can't have that authentic conversation. I always want women to feel empowered and comfortable to be able to do that so that they can get the results, because I'm not going to be there at midnight when they want to eat whatever it is that they want to eat, or at 5 o'clock, not 4 o'clock, maybe 6 o'clock in the morning when they want to get up and exercise. And it sounds better to hit the snooze button. You know, they have to be intentional about those choices, but they also have to feel empowered to be able to do that on their own too.
May I ask, do you ever have clients that'll come to you and then say, well, I know I need to do X, Y, and Z to release this 30 pounds that I want to lose, but I'm not going to do it. I won't diet. I like my sugar. I like my creature comforts. So what can I do without actually having to step out of my comfort zone, which isn't what they're going to say to you. But I think back at clients that I've had, I work with the subconscious mind and what is behind their reasons why they don't want to do something, or they say that they flat out, they're not going to do it. But it's kind of taken back when they sit down and say, okay, I want to lose 30 pounds, but I'm not going to give up sugar and I'm not going to exercise. So fix me. Do you ever have that? And how do you handle that?
I do. And then it goes back to kind of breaking down the resistance that people have to making that change. It's almost like challenging. I feel at that point, it's almost like they're challenging me to allow for the space for them to have that feeling, right? Because if that's how they're feeling, I mean, I've had people tell me similar things. I had one woman who told me she puts a 1/4 cup of creamer in her coffee and she's not changing that. I'm like, okay, then let's talk about something that you are willing to do, you know, and then what are the things, the steps that we need to take to get you to the result that you're looking for. And also, I think it's very empowering to say, if you don't want to lose 30 pounds, that's great. What do you want to get out of that? Because the other piece that I think we hear a lot is it's easy, it's we don't have to do that much in order to get these changes, but I commit every day to being healthy, right? And so I know for me, that doesn't always mean perfect. And never would I say that eating and exercise and all that stuff is perfect, because I don't think perfect exists for humans. But I do think we have to be intentional, right? So as we're going through the holidays, for example, if we're not intentional about how are we showing up at those meals, what are we doing to not have that holiday weight gain that we're all trying to avoid? What do I need to do that? Do I need to exercise differently? Do I need to make sure that I'm getting my sleep? Do I need to be the one to bring the veggie tray to the holiday party? What do I need to do to empower myself to be able to get the results that I want? And I think that has to come through in that conversation too, of like, okay, you're here and you wanted to come and have this conversation. How can I help you to get where you want to be? And what does that actually look like? Is it society telling you that you need to lose weight, or is it something that you actually want to achieve? And if that's what you actually want, then these are the steps that we have to take a look at and do.
You have to be intentional with your actions and help your clients to understand what that intention looks like, so that when you're not there, they can have that conversation with themselves. I also think that mindset really comes into this as well, is because when I start working with my clients and we do an assessment, the first thing I'm going to want to assess is, where is their mindset? How do they view their health? How do they view themselves? And a lot of times it's very negative. It's like, oh, I can't lose any weight, and everybody tells me this or tells me that. And so helping them to turn around that mindset and be able to say, okay, how can we look at this in a different way? How can we look at this in a different light? And allow them to verbally say it so that their ears hear it. Because once their ears hear it, that is helping to set that intention. It's like, oh, wow, did I just say that? Dissing on themselves or saying I can't, or this always happens this way. It's like, well, okay, what would happen if it didn't? How could we see our health differently today versus where it was? Because so many times we have in our mind's eye what we looked like when we were in our 20s and 30s and we were working that hard. And it's really hard to see ourselves today for who we are, where we're at in our journey. And so just being able to have that realization, that conversation that says, I am today, this is me. And if I don't start speaking health to myself, I'm going to keep going down this negative mindset road of never making any changes, So mindset is really, really important, along with intention, along with accountability. There's not a one size fits all, but there is a custom built plan that you get to create for yourself.
I wanted to talk about a client that I was working with, that I started to bring out some of the ways, some of the words they were using to describe their own body, their food choices, and that type of a thing. And so that's the intention, right? They have the intention of weight loss, or they have the intention of changing the nutrition, but in their mind, they're just beating themselves up. They're taking what I call, they take the baseball bat and just beat themselves over the head with like, you're so fat, you're so disgusting, I can't believe you're doing this again, I can't believe you're not smart enough. And this is what they're telling themselves over and over and over again. And so stopping that cycle, and it's giving the space to kind of call some of that out and just say, how can we get you to feeling more confident? What is it that you need to be able to do in order to have that ability to get the results that you're looking for? But you're so right that it has to be intentional, and it has to be very customized and personalized to each individual person. And I find that a lot of women haven't had that opportunity to really voice what's actually going on. And so if there's that resistance, because you go to the doctor and you talk to the doctor, and how many times do women go in and they're like, okay, you need to lose weight. And I have women say to me, I already know that. Walk into the doctor's office, I'm not surprised that they think I need to lose weight, but they just say, eat more fiber, eat more protein, and let's see each other again in 6 months or a year. And it's just not helpful, right? Because it doesn't peel back the layers of the onion that say what's actually going on for these women. And if we don't see that, if we can't help them see that, then they're not going to be able to move that forward. So yeah, absolutely. Intention and accountability is 100% important for sure.
Well, and going to what you said about these women are beating themselves up.
Mhm.
And we go to the doctor, and it's hard enough for those of us that do need to release weight to go in and hear that. And we just want to pile on. You go online and you see all the fat phobic stuff and the nasty things that people say about people, especially women who do carry extra weight. And we're just beating ourselves over the head. And I can remember, is very a vulnerable share here, is I had a doctor tell me, he said, just take one bite of everything. He goes, that's the only bite that matters anyway. He was a big calories in, calories out. I don't have a thyroid, so my energy needs are supposedly a lot less. But I was at a point where I was telling myself, I don't deserve to eat one more bite. I only deserve maybe this one little bite of whatever it is, which is a really messed up way to look at it. So one of the concepts that I take my clients through, first of all, how do you really feel? What is holding you back? What is standing in the way? But also emphasizing, hey, let's take a look at this woman in the mirror. And I don't know if I've shared this before, but if we're constantly looking at like someone we hate, that we're angry at, we want to get revenge on, we want to punish, there's a big difference between that and being like, I love this woman. She has carried my body for 50 years through hell and back and has come up swinging. She's a survivor. She may not look like she did when she was 20. She may be carrying extra weight, but I love this woman. I respect this woman. She is my best friend. Are you more willing to go out of your way and help your best friend or someone you can't stand? I'm going to go out of the way. If it means that I'm going to cut out alcohol for 3 months to save my best friend, I'm going to do it versus, well, you can't have your Christmas Prosecco because you big fat slob. There's such a big dynamic there. And I find that when I share that with women and I take them through an exercise of, body part by body part and honoring and respecting it and showing love for that body part so they can build this, like, you know what, this woman deserves to be as healthy and happy as possible. That shift I've found so many people, including myself, when I'm looking at myself in the mirror, it's much easier to go to the gym or to eat more vegetables or pass on the sugar if I'm helping my best friend.
Yeah. I oftentimes will ask women, would you speak to your best friend like you speak to yourself?
Exactly.
And the answer is typically no. And the other visual is like seeing your 2-year-old self. And you're pointing the finger right at them and you're accusing and you're calling them names and you're saying horrible, awful things. And they're just cringing and kind of getting smaller and smaller in the corner. And that's exactly what we do to ourselves. We beat ourselves up. And so being able to kind of bring to light that it is very vulnerable. I really believe that food is very vulnerable for women. It is, you are taking comfort, you are taking tradition. Some women would put value on that. Like their value is related to how well they cook or how well they feel like they're providing for their family. So when we say like it's just calories, I'm like, oh, it is so much deeper than that. So much deeper. That is so emotional for me because I've seen women suffering so much with not knowing how to treat their bodies with kindness and building that confidence and just being told lose weight, lose weight, lose weight. And it's like, it's not a logic thing, right? It's that emotional thing. And when our heart and our head aren't matched up, it can be very, very troublesome for people, for sure.
I think people will come in and they'll say, I want to lose 20 pounds. And that's the obvious. And like you said, peeling back the onion and looking at the deeper emotional connection. One thing that I see a lot is that women will have this cycle going in their head, this conversation, like we were just talking about, and they don't even realize that it's happening. And then once they start being able to hear it, instead of it just being kind of like something that's playing in the background, then they can go, oh, okay, wait a second. I know that this is a negative conversation I'm having with myself and I can change it. And that's comes the empowering part. And especially when I'm working with my clients and I help them to say, okay, how can we turn that around? And number one, the biggest thing is that you got to catch it when it's happening. And you got to start recognizing, you got to start tuning in to that conversation that you're having with yourself, and then once you start doing that, then you can change the conversation. You yourself can change the conversation. And it can be at those pivotal moments when you're at the party, or when it's 9 o'clock at night and you're standing in front of the refrigerator thinking that you need to eat something, or it's in the morning when you're getting up the extra to work out or meditate or whatever it is. Those are the important times to have those conversations. What's the good angel and the bad angel? And they're having those conversations like, oh no, you can just snooze it for 10 minutes. So helping them to find their own patterns. So if working out first thing in the morning isn't the thing, then okay, well, when are you going to fit it in? Are you more in the afternoon? Is that better for you? So it's these kinds of conversations that when you work with a coach like yourself or like Marti and I, that these are things that we're going to help you to challenge yourself with and recognize.
And shame and guilt is so much embedded into, I think, the female psyche. We just hear it in so many different ways and we internalize that. And I was just talking with somebody earlier this morning about the things that we experience in 7th grade or even 4th grade or just elementary school, junior high, high school, like those carry with you. So when we're talking to women in their 40s, 50s, 60s and beyond, that's part of them. You know, you can talk about what's going on now, but we've had a whole lifetime. I've talked to women who were told they needed to go on Weight Watchers when they're 8 years old. I'm like, 8 years old. Like the message that that sends and the conversations that they overheard in those meetings. And there's just this kind of disconnect with loving ourselves and loving our bodies and then being told that we're never good enough, right? And so really trying to really see that from a perspective, talk about emotional baggage that we're carrying around. And that may just be so totally normal. If everybody in your world has always been on a diet, if everybody talks about how many calories they're in and what you're eating, if everybody thinks that sugar is bad for you, you know, that you're carrying that around, whether you're verbalizing that or not. And so when we start having that conversation and we can bring that to the forefront, that's why journaling, meditation, all of those kind of mindful activities are so good for us because it sort of forces it from our subconscious into our conscious, and we can actually start to work through that and break that down.
You know, one of the pieces I work with my clients is helping them to forgive that person inside of them that they're mad at. A daily meditation that I do is I ask in the meditation, when I'm in that meditation state, who do I have to forgive? Who needs forgiving? And immediately something will come up. It'll be either something from the past, it'll be a person, it'll be an event, or it could be just myself. And sometimes I might have to do that over and over again. But it's that act of actually saying, I forgive you, I love you, and I want to heal this portion of part of my life. What does that look like? How does that feel? How do I put that joy back into that place? And believe me, over time, it's amazing what those words can do for you. I forgive.
Absolutely. And I love that you said that, Robin, because I'm a big fan of the forgiveness prayer. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I have to say that over and over again to my ex-husband, my current husband, my dad, my mom, my kids, myself. I will look at myself in the mirror because I don't always have to even know necessarily what it is. And I talk to some women, they are so like, no, I can never forgive that person. I will never, ever, ever forgive. And how can I forgive? Because it was so horrible. Well, you don't have to call them up and tell them this stuff. You don't have to ever see or interact with them again. This is on an energetic or spiritual level where you close your eyes, you imagine their face in front of you, and you just say those words as if they're saying it to you and you're saying it back to them. Because as we're all going through life, and some people make horrible, horrible choices and do horrible, horrible things. And we're doing the best we can with what we have, with the education, with the experiences, with the wisdom, with the capacity, that the bandwidth, what have you, that we each have. If I hold others to, they're doing the best that they can in this moment, and maybe it's really not good, but that's all they have today. It's easier to forgive that. I imagine them in front of me, whether I'm still, you know, what they did, and say that, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And Robin, I don't know if you've noticed it, but it feels so releasing. It just feels a little bit lighter, you know, and I still see that person. And it's like, you know what? You still burn my side. Still, but it just takes that charge. It takes that heat, or if you know what I mean.
You can literally feel your body shift when you say those words. I forgive you. I'm sorry. I forgive. I love you. Thank you. And it doesn't matter what order you say them in, but you can actually just feel that heaviness lift off of you when you do that. It's
And I
incredible.
think a lot of women, weight loss is a huge topic within the menopause space, right? So when we're talking about releasing weight, losing weight, all of that kind of stuff, I find so many women automatically feel lighter when they experience something like that. They experience that forgiveness, they experience that shift in their emotional health. And so it becomes this empowerment for them because they feel like they lost 10 pounds, and so they have more energy, they're more clear in their thinking, they have more focus and more intention in what they're doing, and the scale didn't move. And that's the genius of it, right? Is the scale didn't move, but they feel that emotional shift. And a lot of times we'll talk to women about, you have to feel great on the inside or better on the inside before the outside is going to reflect that.
Right.
So, if we just keep looking at what the scale is saying, we're probably not going to get that long-term sustainable result we're looking for. But when we start looking on the inside and shifting that, oh my goodness. I mean, it's life-changing. It really is. And so
It
being
is.
able to do that, being able to give them that opportunity, I feel like that's a huge gift that we give to our clients, is just being quiet with them and opening up that door to say, what's actually going on in that head of yours? Because you've been holding on to that for so long, and maybe they're blocking it or they're resisting it or something like that. But just being able to open that door for them is truly a gift. And I feel very blessed to be on that journey with a lot of women, because it's an honor to walk through that with them.
If I may piggyback onto that, Jennifer, with the feeling of lighter when you let that go, what I've been finding very, very helpful over the last year or so is when those emotions come up, when those tears that you mentioned, you talked about, you're not even sure what it was about. When those tears come up, when that anger comes up, maybe I have a sense of it. I could take a moment and think, okay, well, what's that about? But even if I don't, I just imagine it when that comes up, I just let it come through me. And it's almost like I'm unzipping a coat, a big, heavy coat of old beliefs, old memories, old emotions, old pain that I just don't need anymore. I know it gives a lot of women a lot of distress. It's like, I'm crying for no reason. Why am I crying? Okay, well, maybe you know what that's about. You could take a moment looking into it, but even not, just let yourself cry it through. And it's like releasing off of you, and you do feel lighter. Let it go with your tears. Let it go with the anger. Let it go with the rage. Let it just imagine, even close my eyes, imagine I'm just unzipping this big old heavy gray, old dirty sweater and just taking it off, and it feels so freeing.
You can feel great quickly. Like it can happen quickly when you start to release that. I have 3 boys that are all adults now, but I've told them before, I'm like, when I cry, because I'm a crier. If I get too emotional, too stressed about something, I'm going to cry. And I've always seen it as a weakness, to be quite honest. And I started a few years ago, I said to them, I'm not weaker because I'm crying. It's my superpower. It is my way of releasing that I am just feeling very emotional about something, and I have to get it out one way or the other. I'm not a yeller, I'm not a screamer, I cry. So you're going to have to just give me a minute. Let me cry it through, and you're not going to have to fix it. You don't have to do anything about it. Just give me a minute, and then we can process through, and I can actually like have a logical conversation, because it kind of freaked them out. They're like, how do we fix that? And I'm like, there's nothing to fix. Like, just give me a minute and let me cry. And I don't judge that in myself anymore. I'm like, crying is good. Crying is cleansing. Crying helps me to unzip that sweater and take that off and feel that lightness. I think we all have that way of doing that, and we have to find our own way of being okay with that, leaning into that, and not trying to just push it away. Because when I was trying to avoid it or not have people see me cry, that's not authentic, right? And
you're just stuffing it down, down, down. If we keep stuffing that stuff down, it's going to spew up some other over here. It's going to keep coming up other places.
And also too, it's going to start showing up in our physical body as well.
Yes.
So when
disease,
we emotions, it shows up and in so many of our organs. And then we wonder why we have indigestion, or if we have back problems, or if we have heart problems, or just different things. One thing I wanted to say is, we as women have that beautiful ability to cry.
Yeah.
Boys are taught that crying is a sign of weakness, but I love it. If a man can cry, that's he's way ahead of the game, the masculinity game, But for women, I think we have that ability to cry in order to release our emotions that are pent up, or things that are stuck inside of us. So when we start looking at the physical and the emotional connection, and we start understanding better about ourselves and how to take care of that emotional side of us, then I think naturally it starts to link back to our physical too. And those two pieces, once you can get them both working together, Boy, I'll tell you what, there's the magic pill right there.
I talk a lot about women kind of taking a square peg in a round hole. Like we keep trying to do the same thing, like beating our head against the wall. If I just can count calories better, if I can just do this diet better, if I can just do this exercise better, instead of like, how do I need to do it now? What do I need to do to get those results? And actually, if we're taking that step back and we're looking at that emotional piece, it's going to make our blood sugars better. It's going to make our blood pressure better. It's going to improve our cholesterol. So we kind of go over here and look at the labs instead of looking inside first. And then how do I get to all of that being affected positively? We've looked at nutrition and lifestyle backwards, in my opinion, for a very long time. And I think the more we can have conversations like this, the more we can bring awareness to other women. I think that's our collective superpower, is being able to share and encourage and support women supporting women. There, what a greater thing is there, right? Being able to allow and really encourage and give hope. It's amazing.
Well, I'll tell you what, this has been a wonderful conversation, and I hope that the people that need to hear it are hearing it. Mm-hmm. And if a lady wants to work with you, how does she get a hold of you?
So there's a couple different ways that you can reach me. I have my website, jennifergillilandnutrition.com, so people can go there and kind of check out some of the programs that I have, some kind of client stories and that kind of thing. So you can get a sense of, what my style is like in working with ladies. I also offer a 15-minute complimentary discovery call. So if somebody wants to just get on the phone and just have a conversation and kind of break it down, because I understand there's a lot of times that they've worked with other people or had different experiences, and I want to make sure that I can help in the best way possible. I don't want this to be something that they feel like they have to do. I want it to be something that they're engaged in and wanting to have that conversation. So I offer that as well. And then my contact information, if anybody wants to call or text, I'm happy to do message back and forth or text back and forth if that's more comfortable. I find that everybody has kind of their way that they want to communicate. So if you want to take a look at my website and see what's going on there, or if you want to have a conversation, I'm open to either. I do have both one-on-one and group programming that I offer, because again, everybody's individual. So I have a really great group of ladies that I'm working with right now in my group program. I have a 3 or a 6 month option, and it's really wonderful, the conversation. I had one woman tell me this week, we went deep this week. I'm like, we did. It is a continuous enrollment that I have in my group program, so people can join whenever it's comfortable for them. And then I also have that one-on-one option in case somebody feels more comfortable in that setting.
Wonderful. So, if you want to work with Jennifer or check out her group or website, go and check that out. So just kind of circling back and just some final thoughts. Marti, what are your final thoughts?
This has just been such a wonderful conversation. I think one of the things that we had talked about earlier, but didn't get a chance to get to in this episode, is how do we know when we're ready to get help? Are we actually looking for a solution, or are we just in a place where we're testing the waters? And the way I always look at it is really take a look at where you are now with an honest look of, do I really want to feel this way for the next 10, 20, 30 years? Or, kind of go down that merry path of like, well, what am I looking at? If I, what am I afraid of? What's going to happen here? Versus how do I want my life to be? And Jennifer, that's one of the things that I know that you take your women through is, well, where do you want to be? What is the gap from where you are right now to where you want to be? I love that concept. And can I get through those obstacles that are standing between where I am now and where I want to be? Can I do that on my own? What's been my past history of doing that on my own? How'd that work out for me in the past? For me, I know that when I look at changes I make, it's like I've exhausted doing this myself, and I don't want to waste any more time or money or any of that suffering with whatever it is. So that for me is kind of like my heaven and hell, if you will, of where I am versus where I want to be, and do I need help? How about you, Jennifer?
First, I'm so grateful to both of you for having me on. I think this has been a wonderful conversation. And the more we can have open and honest conversations about menopause and midlife, I think that just helps to move the needle for all women, because then we can share and people can understand that this isn't just a passing thing, right? Once we're in menopause, like we're in it. So we need each other. We need that support. We need that encouragement. I look at it, all of this, as you're talking about kind of filling in that gap, it's the information versus implementation, right? I mean, you can Google all kinds of things. You can search things. You can get all the information you want in the world. And I know I've done this for myself. If I'm looking for something, I can get all the information. Doesn't mean I do anything with it. Right. And so that's the great thing about coaching and guidance that we can offer to women, is being that support and that encourager. Also, the kind of appropriate education. We kind of joke, right, that everything on the internet is not exactly true, because there's just a lot of opinions about different things. And so I'm not saying that anyone has all of the answers by any means, but I think when we're directed and we're encouraged from both that emotional and that physical standpoint, then we can actually take that information and put it to good use. And then also filter through some of the things that may not be quite, something that's appropriate for us. So having that sort of objective look at what people are trying to do, but really, really digging in and getting the results that you deserve. I feel very honored and blessed to be able to help women in this way. So that is definitely a passion of mine, and I'm grateful to be here and be able to kind of push through that.
Well, thank you so much, Jennifer. And just to finish up with final thoughts, I believe that when Marti said, how do you know when you're ready? How do you know when you're ready? Because we may think that we have it all together, but deep down in the heart center, we know that we're struggling. And sometimes it's really hard to come out and say, I need help, because we're always supposed to be the strong one. We're the one that fixes, we're the one that nurtures, we're not the one that can be weak. And
Right.
So I feel like when you start working with Jennifer or Marti or I, you get to come into a conversation that's safe, and it allows you to open up and speak things that are from your heart that you could maybe not say to family and friends and other places. So if you in your heart know that there's something inside of you that's saying, I just can't continue to go on like this, I need some help, I need a conversation, I need weight gain, I just can't continue to live the way that I'm living. Those are signs that reaching out to a coach, or reaching out into a program, or reaching out into a group like Jennifer has, can be so beneficial, and it can improve the quality of life. It can give you so much more peace and fill up some joy, and you can start enjoying more of your life that you have today, and not regretting that it isn't what it was in the 20s or 30s or 40s. But today, this is you making over your life again, so that you can take back and enjoy it and have that vitality and that joy, and look forward to the rest of your life. It's not a jail sentence having menopause. You can have a balanced, healthy lifestyle again. So I just really want to thank you all for being here. Jennifer, what an honor it is to have you.
Can I just add one quick thing?
Please. Yes.
As you're saying that, like the soul yes, if you're listening to this and you have this soul yes that you need help, then don't second guess that. Trust your own instinct, your own gut that says, this is what's best for me, whether that's whichever of us you're working with. If you're needing that help, don't second guess that. Trust your body, trust your instinct, trust that you know what's best for you, and then reach out, because as you're saying, like that's exactly what your next best step is to get that accountability and that support. I just wanted to throw that in there because it was, you said that so beautifully. I just wanted to add that piece. So thank you so much to both of you.
Thank you for joining us in the Menowave Lounge. If you'd like to connect with Marti, Robin, our guests, or any of our expert Menowave care providers for personalized advice and support, head on over to our website at menowave.org and fill out an assessment that will match you with a provider who knows just how to help. Remember, you don't have to face menopause alone. Our team is here to provide the guidance and care you deserve. So, take that step towards reclaiming your well-being and connect with a Menowave care provider today. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Menowave Lounge, Hot Flashes and Cool Conversations.